I am super, super excited. Thank you so much for um, logging in, tuning in um, for this broadcast today. I'm really excited. I love doing this kind of thing, sharing information to help sales professionals take their businesses to the next level. And so I'm just giving a few people that they said they were going to be logging on. You could click in. There's a link. You can join in on the link if you want to get on the link. I'm broadcasting simultaneously on Facebook. You can connect with us on Facebook. I'm also broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube. Um, and so I'm going to be starting here momentarily with the information that I plan to share as relates to objection handling. A little bit about myself. My name is Rich Williams. My nickname is Wall Street Williams, Rich Wall Street Williams. And I got that nickname um, years ago. Years ago, I was working um, for a financial annuity company in downtown Bethesda. And um, I walked into my team. The team was there. I walked in the office in the morning. One of my team members said, "Hey, Rich, we're going to call you Wall Street because you walk like you have money." And and we just kind of chuckled and laughed a little bit. And however, the name stuck. So the name Wall Street has is it stuck. So um, but I want to I want to spend some time today. We're going to talk a little bit about objection handling. I can say from a professional perspective, objection handling, learning how to handle objections, learning how to handle those objections have probably been the single most powerful sales technique or tool um, that I've ever experienced. Learning how to handle that objection. So I'm going to go through some objection handling technique. I'm going to share for those that are interested in the presentation. I'm going to convert it to a PDF, and if you want to get a copy, just comment below. Send me the copy. I mean, the copy. Comment below. Send me a copy, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of um, of the presentation. So this idea of objection handling, learning how to handle objections, right? The principle behind handling objections, it's really understanding a few basic things, and I'm going to take you through those basic things that we can do as it relates to um, effective objection handling techniques, etc. So let me see the PowerPoint. Uh, we were working on having the PowerPoint loaded. Let me just pop over here and see if the PowerPoint is ready to go. We can jump right into this presentation. I'm hoping that now you should be able to see the presentation on the screen on the elementary basics of objection handling and that whole process. So objection handling. What is objection handling? Objection handling um, is a couple of basic things, right? We got to understand what it is we're against, right? We have to understand how we're going to handle that objection and the mindset about it. The mindset about the objection handling piece. So today we're going to go through uh, four what I think are key areas to keep in mind as it relates to objection handling. Number one is the difference between a stall objection and a condition, right? Number two is um, technique. We're going to look at three different techniques. The third thing is the 7 different awarenesses as it relates to effective effective objection handling. And then finally, we're going to share the objection handling track. Now, the objection handling track is something that I use even in my personal life with my family. I use that. So understand this at the very beginning, the 80-20 rule. What is the 80-20 rule? Well, we know there was an economist back in the late 1800s who came up with this 80-20 principle, right? The 80-20 principle. And the 80-20 principle basically says in a financial setting, in a financial condition, a financial, um, from a financial perspective, like let me back up. So in real estate, I learned that 80% of the wealth is being generated by 20% of the sales professionals, right? That's the 80-20 rule. And an 80-20 rule in the office or in the business, 80% of the results come from 20% of the activity. And so the key is for us as sales professionals, us as business professionals, to understand and be rock solid on what our 20% is. You got to know that 20%, right? And so understanding that means that until I get real good at handling objections, I'm going to be dividing up 20%. If there were 5 of us, right, that were competing, understand this, that that 20% is what we got left, right? That 20% is what we get until we get good at objection handling. We're going to be in that category competing to 5% of the money. And I'm talking now specifically from a selling situation. So understand that there are 3 keys to a successful objection handling. Let me just get right into this. Now listen, I'm going fast because this is only designed to be about a 33-minute conversation. And it's a much longer program that I put together as it relates to objection handling, breaking it down, and then making some live calls. I don't know if I get a chance to make some live phone calls today, but I'll be back next Friday doing the same thing, talking about sales, talking about objection handling, and making some live sales calls. But the 3 keys to successful objection handling. Key number 1 is help you understand what it is that you're up against. Understand what you're up against. Listen, you never can solve the problem until you first identify what the problem is. You never offer a solution until you understand what the challenge is. So when you go through a process of objection handling, it helps you understand what it is you're up against. The second thing is learn the 7 awarenesses of handling objections. And then we'll look at the actual how to portion of it. But these are what I refer to as 3 keys in successfully handling objection. You got to know what you're up against. You got to know the 7 awarenesses. And then you got to know how you're going to handle the objection. So understand this, that there are stalls, right? There are objections, and then there are conditions. The definition of a stall and objection handling process is what a person or prospect says to hide for whatever reason, the real reason they feel as though they should not make a decision. The most common stall that we hear in a selling situation is I want to think it over. Right? Or maybe let's flip this from an HR perspective. You interview a candidate, you make a job offer to the candidate. The candidate says, I want to think it over. So now it's our job to find the real reason. What do you really want to think about? Right? What's the real reason? Then understand that another type of an objection is called the actual objection itself. Right? So there's stall, a person will stall. Let me think about it. The second part is an objection. And what is the objection? It's the real reason they feel as though they shouldn't make a decision today. Let's go back to a stall. The stall is what a prospect says to hide for whatever the reason or the real reason they don't feel they should make a decision. That's a stall. They're hiding. The objection is the real reasons why they feel as though they can't make a decision today. So our goal is to maybe change their feelings. And then there are conditions. The real reason they can't make a decision. All conditions can be handled during an investigative stage. What's the investigative stage? I said earlier that you can't solve a problem until you first identify the problem. You can't offer solution till you know what the challenge is. So if there are conditions, for example, I sold real estate, and one of the things that I came across on occasion in real estate is when it was an estate sale, and I'm talking with one of the heirs, and they say, "Well, I need my brother, I need my sister, I need another family member to sign off on this contract." That's a condition. That's the reason why they can't move forward. They want to move forward, but they need written permission from other parties. That's a condition. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is making sense. So how do we handle the stall? I want to think about it, right? I want to think about it. So you can't see on the slide. Unfortunately, I can't move the letters. I'm not sure what happened to the letters, but the letters are supposed to say, the words say, the what is it approach. This is some elementary basics of objection handling. What is it? Is it? If I'm selling real estate, I'm using real estate as an example, and someone has an objection about what I think the house is worth, what price I should put it on the market at. The person said, Rich, I appreciate you stopping over. This is great information, but we want to think about it. So now I'm going to hit them with the what is it technique. So what is it? Is it the price? That's what I'm going to say to them. What is it? Is it the price? And now you let them answer. They're going to affirm it. No, we think a list price of 500,000 is good. Okay, what is it? Is it the net? Is it what you get after we sell your house? And let them answer. No, we're okay with getting $100,000 back. So is it the terms of the contract? Is it the dates? And this is real bold. I like to ask this question. So is it me? Is it my company, or is it that you're just unsure? But it's the what is it technique. I used an HR example earlier. We're in HR. You make an offer to a candidate. You put together an offer package to the candidate. The candidate said, "I appreciate you taking some time to interview me today. This seemed like a great company. I want to think about it." They didn't want to think about your offer. And traditionally, what do we do? Well, because we don't want to push people. We don't want people to feel uncomfortable. We don't want them. But I'm telling you, it's okay to push a little bit. It's okay to invite intriguing conversations. I love it. It's okay to invite an intriguing conversation, a curiosity, a curious conversation. I've learned professionally and personally that if I were to ask questions, I stay in curiosity and I stay far away from judgment. Oftentimes in communication and conversations and in a selling situation, we approach it from a judgmental perspective. I'm not trying to judge. I'm just curious. What is it? Is it this salary? No, I'm okay with $75,000 salary. What is it? Is it the benefits? You see what I'm doing? What is it? Is it the benefits? No, the benefits look good. Look good. I like the matching contribution from the company, whatever the case may be. What is it? Is it the start date? Do you need more time? No, I'm okay. I'm okay with a 2 week. See, but what you want to do is you want to invite them into an intriguing conversation that's based upon curiosity. I'm just curious. What is it? Think about this from a hiring perspective, and I've done staffing and business development. That's why I'm comfortable going back from sales to selling houses to staffing, right? Think about this from a staffing perspective. You got your ATS, right? Your automatic your application tracking system, right? You got that working, and you're looking at resumes, and you got Indeed, you have Career Builder, you have whatever you're using to get that person to have that kind of conversation. Maybe that person sat through 2 or 3 interviews. You've invested company dollars. You invested administrative time. I am not going to let this person off the hook that easy. Am I making sense? I'm sure you can feel my passion, right? From a hiring perspective, there's company dollars that we have invested in getting to this table, getting to this conversation. Now, you're not telling the candidate that. It's the mindset. We're operating a business. We are a for-profit operation. What is it? Is it the salary? And they just kind of lean back. What is it? Is it the benefit package? What is it? Is it the start date? What is it? Is it the company? Is it me? Right? You want to invite them into an intriguing conversation. That's what we're doing. I can appreciate you wanting to think it over. I would too if I had unanswered questions. This is what I'm saying to them. And I don't want you to do anything that you aren't comfortable with. Take them into the what is it? Is it price? What is it? Is it terms? What is it? Is it dates? What is it? Is it net? I'm hiring. What is it? Is it the salary? What is it? Is it the benefit package? What is it? Is it the start date? Is it me? Look at this dialogue. I can appreciate you wanting to think it over. I would too if I had any unanswered questions. And I surely don't want you to do anything they aren't comfortable with. That's what we're saying as we take them through the what is it? Is it? And if you go through the what is it, here's a second technique. If you go through the what is it, and they still are unsure. Now, with the second technique, and the second technique is the choice of three, right? The choice of three is it a money issue? Whether you're on the hiring side or you're selling a product to a client or prospect, is it the money? And I usually set this technique up with dialogue that sounds something like this. Bob, I surely appreciate our time together today. Um, but I'm just really curious. Was it the money? Right? In my experience, usually when a client isn't comfortable moving forward, there's usually three reasons. May I share those reasons with you? Sure, go ahead, Rich. Bob, is either a money issue, it's a time issue, or maybe something they're not convinced of, or they just don't trust me. I know. That's loaded emotionally, isn't it? Bob, appreciate you sharing. Bob, appreciate you setting time aside to speak with me today concerning this. And I got to tell you, Bob, in all the years that I've been doing this, whenever I have a client that's uncomfortable moving forward, is usually one of these three areas. May I explain? That's called permission based selling. May I explain? They say yes. They've given you permission to take the next step in the selling conversation. Usually, my experience, Bob, there's three reasons. Either it's a money issue, it's either a time issue, or maybe they're not convinced about something and they need more time, or they just simply don't trust me. Are any of these three your reason, Bob? I know that sounds uncomfortable. Some of you are thinking, I can never do that. Yeah, I can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're professionals, right? Whether you're on the hiring end or you're on the selling end, selling meaning you're presenting a product and or a service. You and I invested time and energy, resources, money, etc., to get to this point in this conversation. This is a golden conversation. This is a golden moment. And I am not going to walk away from this moment too easily. And neither are you. Choice of three. And what if after I do that second technique, the first technique is what is it? Is it? Second technique is the choice of three. What if they still say no, Rich? Is it possible that they still say no? Say yes. Bob, I'd rather have you say no to me now than for you to say yes and regret it. Let's pretend you did say no. What would you be saying no to? Now, if you feel comfortable, that's that other piece that you want to take. But this whole conversation today is really about handling the objection, being aware, practicing in advance for this conversation. So awareness is that will help prepare you. Number one, understand this about objections, that they're not scientific. Do something as opposed to nothing. What you show is less important than doing something, right? I remember I was in a training event, and I shared with the group that I was in. I said, some of you use the SEAL technique, SEAL, the SEAL technique. They said, what's the SEAL technique? Your client says, we want to think it over, and here's your technique, the SEAL technique. You go, are you sure? I know that was my impersonation of a SEAL, SEAL. Doing something as opposed to nothing. Number two, handle objections only when necessary. Sometimes you can handle them before they occur. Sometimes you handle them later on. Sometimes as they occur, sometimes never. But be aware that you only handle the objection when it's necessary. The third thing to understand about awareness is there are approximately 300 million people in the U.S. So there could be potentially 300 million reasons why people can't move forward. So OHT or objection handling tracks or techniques are used to change people's feeling when they want to procrastinate. Awareness number four, most OHT, objection handling tracks, don't work most of the time, but they all work some of the time. So you need to know a bunch. You need to have different techniques. I just quickly covered three techniques. A fourth technique would be the feel, felt, found. To understand how you feel, right? Feel, felt, found. Feel, felt, found. To understand how you feel. Talk to other people in the past who have felt the same way, but here's what we found, right? These are techniques. These are techniques for a selling situation or intriguing conversations, as I put it. Awareness number five, the attempt will get you further than the actual OHT. Sometimes they just need a nudge. I want to think it over. I'll go on. It'll be okay. You're making the right decision, Pop. Sometimes they just need that nudge. Now, listen, friend, it may sound a little pushy what I'm doing. It sounds a little pushy. I get it. It sounds, some of you are maybe a little uncomfortable. Some of you may say, well, I will never say that. And that's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to. My goal today is I want to raise your awareness about these objections that you're getting hit with in a selling situation. Try to have at least two or three objection handling techniques or dialogues for each objection. Go look at your industry and discover in your industry what are the top objections that you hear from prospects or clients that prevent them from moving forward. If I'm in the hiring field, if I'm in the staffing side, if I'm on the staffing, hiring, HR side, I'm going to look at what are reasons why clients or candidates are saying no to a job offer. When I make a job offer, why are they saying no? Right. So I will put together a list of two or three top reasons why candidates say no when I make a job offer to them. And then I'm going to have results for each of those reasons why they're saying no. Now, I know what you may be thinking. If a person don't want to work here, I don't want them here. Not necessarily true. Sometimes people say no because it's a reflective answer. Sometimes people say no because they want to try to negotiate a higher salary, better benefits, etc. But if you and I don't investigate that or invite them to have an intriguing conversation, we'll never know. Awareness number seven, it's not the OHT that handles the track. It's the track. It's the visual. How do you spell OHT? You got to use a visual. Never say it unless you can say and show it. Never say it unless you can say and show it. Rich, I think it's the price. We don't want to move forward. I think what you're asking to list our house at is lower than what we want to get to it. Certainly understand how you feel, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I really don't want you to do anything you're not comfortable with and or regret Does that make sense? Yes. May I share something with you that I think will may make the difference? Now I'm gonna show them market analysis. I'm gonna show them what house is similar to theirs, right? As opposed to me just saying, "Oh, okay, are you sure?" and then walking away. That's not going to happen. So here's the track that I wanted to share with you at the end here. We're right up. We're getting close to that um, 33-minute window that I had really anticipated, and I don't see any questions in the chat. I'm looking now. I don't see any questions being typed into the chat at this moment. So here it is. This is the track that I use. This is the track, right? Step one, step two, step three, step four. I'm sequential in my thinking. I like to have a process, a model to follow. And so I've learned this years ago: cushion, question, isolate, handle, close. Cushion, question, isolate, handle, close. Whenever I'm in a selling situation, I'm having a selling conversation, or I'm inviting people to an intriguing conversation, and an objection comes up, I go through cushion, question, isolate, handle, close. Cushion, question, isolate, handle, close. Here's how it works. So this is what I cushion. The first column is what I call it. The second column is the objection, and the third column is possible. Excuse me, possible dialogue. So say I want to think about it. Here's the cushion. Show that you're not going to. The objective is to show them that you're not going to argue. I can appreciate how you feel. The second step is to question. Now, the objective of the question is to find out what you got to handle. So you can't offer a solution until you know what the challenge is. You can't give an answer until you know what the problem is. So the question, the intriguing conversation, the question is designed to clarify my thinking. So just to clarify my thinking: who, what, where, when, why. Now you want to use open-ended questions that's going to invite the dialogue. Have you been thinking about selling your house for long? No. End of the discussion. Right? Do you want to work for my company? No. End of the discussion. I'm not going to ask, do you want to work for my company? How long have you been thinking about other offers? What is it about the package or the salary that you have questions about? Is there anything about, right? So, how do you feel about our mission? See, I'm asking an open-ended question. I'm asking an open-ended question. And then isolate. Make sure it's the only thing. See, I want to isolate, handle, and close, because sometimes it may be a stall and not the actual objection. They could be stalling. So I need to probe a little bit. That's that intriguing conversation. And I hope this is making sense. So I want to isolate. Is that the only thing that's preventing you from making a decision? If I could show you that moving forward can save you time, save you money, would you reconsider? Now, the next step is handle. Now, you got to change your feelings, right? Change the way they feel. Change your feeling. How do you change your feeling? You tell them and you show them. Some people are audio, some people are visual, some people are kinesthetic. They need to touch it. So some people need to see pie charts and graphs. So you need to incorporate all of that in the handle stage. Never tell them anything unless you can tell them and show them. Let me show you something I think will make the difference. It's a dialogue. And then finally, you want to close it. You want to get a decision, get a yes, get a no, but get a decision. That makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it? You ready to move forward? No. That makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it? Yes. Okay, so let's get started. Right here, page one is the right. So this is the progression. This is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there. That objection, handling track. Objection handling track. That's where we're going. That's how we're going to get there. So I'm hoping that what I shared with you today, you found value in it. I plan to do more little tips and techniques like this and post them here. I'm going to be on LinkedIn. You can follow what I'm doing on Momentum on my Facebook page at Momentum 100X. You can subscribe on YouTube, Momentum 100X. If you want to have a more in-depth conversation, you can email me at momentum100x@gmail.com. So I appreciate everyone's time today. Hopefully you found value in these 32 minutes that we spent together. Friend, I want to tell you, I'll see at the top because the bottom is just too crowded. Now, we never look down on anyone unless we're looking down to give them a hand up. Believing that you can is way more profitable than believing that you can't. I'll see you.